Hello! Today I'd like to do a little walkthrough. We're going to be looking at a fake 3D image effect that can be used for photos or hero banners on a web page. I discovered this effect. This demo is originally created by Akela, and one of the things I wanted to do here was explore how can one actually take a photo and turn it into a page of this style. What's the workflow actually look like, and what kind of results do you get, and how do you tune that? So we got a version of this ready to go, and today for this little demo, we're going to do the subject. I found this nice art piece on ArtStation. We got a coffee shop table with coffee, pastries, a book, and we're going to turn this into a 3D photo and do some tweaking together. So I'll start by let's save this image. Let's give it a nice simple name. Coffee table. So what you need for a fake 3D photo is you need an original picture of any kind. It can be a photo or an image. And then you need a depth map. For this, we're going to be using a tool, 3dphoto.io. It will end up using machine learning to generate a decent depth map. And then we're going to go and manually tune and paint that because they don't usually end up just right. They're close. So we picked our photo. We're going to upload that one, and it takes about 5 to 10 seconds. Okay, here we go. Open image. So this is the depth map that it generated for our picture. This isn't going to mean a lot yet, but at a high level, the depth map is going to be used for in the 3D photo effect is the red amount on any given pixel will effectively tells the shader how close that part of the picture is to us. So when we're going to be doing the 3D effect, when we move our mouse, the bits that have more red in them will end up moving a lot more, and the ones that have less red in them will end up staying relatively static, which will give us that kind of parallax effect. In looking at this, I can already see there'll be a couple issues we'll have to do. Number one, the depth maps, the edge over here is a little wrong because it's at the edge, so we'll probably have to do some painting there. And then I'm seeing sort of a bit of a hole here, and this inference might be a bit wrong. But we'll see. We'll actually play with it in 3D and then see what we need to tweak or paint on this depth map. There are some parts that are pretty good, like this table is going to be really close to us, and the far table is going to be far away from us. So let's go ahead and get into the code and plug this guy in. I preset this up. I'm using VS Code and the demo that we talked about on GitHub from Akela. Let's get our first version of this up and running. Coffee table 01. And same thing here, coffee table 01 depth. This should be a good threshold for how much it'll move as we move our mouse. And we'll do something else later just to give it a little extra flair. Okay, let's get that hosted and see how we're looking. So here's the first version of this. Based on where I move my mouse cursor, the rest of the image will move. So we can kind of see there's some good things and some interesting weird things happening. We're definitely getting a general kind of 3D feel. The coffee is moving nicely, the pastries are moving nicely. This book cover seems to be shifting in weird ways. You can see around here on the edges we're getting some cutting, like the table is not a circle if you stretch over to the left. And this bucket kind of is moving and deforming oddly. It's staying more stationary, not moving with the table as much as we'd expect. So those are some things we're going to be manually tweaking and painting in the depth map to improve this effect a little bit and get this feeling even better. So I'm going to open up Photoshop. We're going to open up that depth map that we generated. And we're just going to do a little bit of painting here. Let's start by start by healing this edge right here. Okay, and do a similar thing over here. Okay, that's a little better. Let's do, so this book cover is kind of one of those bits that's a bit weird. Let's grab that and then paint over maybe like a 20% opacity with a smaller size. Let's see what we can get. So we want the close bit of the book a little closer and the far part not as close. And then let's see if we can do just a little blurring, smoothing on that spot. Let's see how that looks. We're going to save that, go back to our demo and reload. So that's a lot better. That book is now moving about as we'd expect. We've still got some stuff on this corner, so we're going to have to overpaint the top of the table a little bit on that corner. The rest of the edges seem a little better, but that top corner still is a little weird. And then let's get this bucket a bit. So we'll overpaint this just a little. And let's overpaint this area a little bit, a little larger than the actual table. Yeah, there we go. That should help a bit. And this bucket, this whole bucket's a bit not quite what we want. This is where if we wanted to get a lot fancier, it'd be nice to go in with the original photo and grab a mask for this. But we're going to just do the faster version. So I guess this, when I'm thinking about the depth of this image, the bucket to me as a viewer is about as far as this part of the table. So I'd like to paint the bucket so it sticks with that part of the table. So it'll be behind the cup in the book, but in front of everything out here. So let's do some painting in that color. Let's do just a hair of overpainting so that it won't pull the back area with it. Fill this in. Okay, this should help us out a bit. And then let's just get just a little hint, bring that that bucket up just a hair with, just get something down the middle, a little bit. Okay, let's see how that looks for us. Okay, the bucket's moving a lot better. This is starting to look really good. The corners are still a little odd, and that might not be because of the depth mask anymore. It might be even actually we're seeing some bits of the photo that are on the very edges. The bucket's moving nicely, the cup's moving nicely as we slowly move. This is looking really good. This is a very good 3D effect. So that's the general process flow. We'll just add a little flair for this too. Coffee, pastry. Get this more of a hero landing page style feel. Yeah, so that's the process of how we take a 2D photo and turn it into a fake 3D photo with a little bit of manual painting. Every scene has its own little quirks or differences, and kind of just knowing how to adjust the depth map is the best way to get your 3D effect feeling better and better, and you can probably get as far down that rabbit hole as you like, depending on how perfect you need it. But for a lot of it, like here, if we were to get a little more perfect, this table is in the corner of the book is warping a little bit. So that's the kind of thing you can improve depending on how precise you want the feel to be. And there's still always going to be some slight artifacts that some people will be able to detect, because fundamentally you're still operating from a single viewpoint, and you don't actually have visual information on what's behind an object. There are some computer generative techniques that are able to infer what those would be, but this simple flow of one depth map in a photo doesn't really give you the ability to recreate that. So this version of this will always end up with some very slight artifacts no matter what you do. You'd have to use a more sophisticated visual technique to get something a little better. I hope this has been interesting. I hope this is helpful. I'd love to see what you guys are able to create in the fake photo 3D space. I'll see you next time.